Hi guys, I am in my lair in my basement hanging out because it is Michigan and it is the week after Christmas and it's incredibly cold outside and I'm not going out there. It's only 26 right now, which is actually one of the nicer days, but I'm going to stay inside and get all my seed stuff done on the inside. So I thought I would look back at all of the seeds. I wanted to pull all the seeds from last year that did really good in my garden that I want to make sure I get this year, and I thought I would just show you the ones that I liked. So I have got two herbs that I tried last year that I really liked. Now, this is not to say that I don't like all the other herbs because I like all of them, but these are ones that stood out to me last year that I'm going to make sure that I put in this year. This first one is hyssop. This took off from seed. Last year it was brand new from seed for me. I grew it from seed and it bloomed quickly in fully right off its first season, and the bees loved it, and it stayed almost all the way up until the hard frost. It says it gets 24 inches to 48 inches. I've had it in a couple different spots in my yard. There were spots that stayed a little shrubbery kind of small, and there were parts that stood up a little bit better. I think it depends on your sun. I really, really liked it. It is definitely frost tender, so you can't put it outside until after your frost, but that is one that I'm going to grow a little bit more of this year. I think that it's going to self-seed very, very freely. It might not make it through my Michigan winter technically, but all those seeds that sowed themselves from last fall will be there. So I should get a good patch of this still, but I'm going to start some from seed just in case I don't. The other one that I tried last year that I really liked is this chamomile. It's called Kelway Golden, and it's also called Marguerite. And I got it because of the name Marguerite, because I like to put things in my garden that relate to my heritage. And I had a great-great-grandmother, Marguerite, and she came from Norway. And so I thought they were really cute too. They got these cute little button heads. They're really, really pretty. This grows up nice and bushy. I put it in planter boxes this year. I am going to grow it again from seed this year, and I'm going to start it in the ground in a spot in my garden and see how it does overwintering. So those are my herbs that I'm going to make sure I try again. Of course, I'm going to do Genovese basil, my thyme, my oregano, all those things are all still out there. But those are just two extra ones that I thought were really good last year that I will put in again this year. Okay, cold hardy spring stuff is next. Hold on. Also, isn't it nice to hang out in the basement? I got all my lights set up. I don't know how much you can tell here. There's where my seeds are. Up in that basket is my cat. Hi, Gracie. And then over here in my chair is Jack Frost. Hi, Jack. And we're just hanging out down here, looking at seeds. Oops, I'm going to break something. Looking at seeds and relaxing on this break in between Christmas and New Year's. Okay. Root this radish. I don't know if you say it Malaga, I'm not really sure, but it's a Polish heirloom radish. And I thought the color was really pretty. It's this really pretty purpley pink kind of color. So I grew this one last year and it did very, very good for me. We're not huge radish people. I probably will only grow one kind of radish. So I'm just gonna switch to this kind. So that's my new go-to radish. We do Detroit dark red beets. Those always work really good for me. Brent likes to have pickled beets, so I am going to continue to keep trying to grow more of these. I tried them this year for the first time. I only got a couple pints, which I gave some away, so I am definitely going to try and grow more of these Detroit dark red beets. They also have a Detroit golden beet that I have tried, and it didn't do as well for me, but I will try it again this year and see if I like that one too. We grow a lot of kale. This is scarlet kale. This is my favorite kale. One, because it's pretty. And when you only have so much space like I do in my garden, I have very limited space. It needs to be functional and it needs to make me happy to be out in the garden too. So this one is really pretty. It can be decorative. I actually have planted it in like my bush line and around the side of the yard and stuff as decorative and then just harvested from it. So scarlet kale is one. Same thing here. This package is a little beat up. This is from Territorial Seeds, but this is Bright Lights Swiss Chard. And it's my favorite Swiss chard that I have gotten so far. It grows up, and I mean, this is just a drawn picture, but it really does have all these bright color stems. You don't know what you're going to get until it grows. I found this is a really good trap crop If you don't know what a trap crop is, it's something that you can plant in your garden to attract insects, bugs, bad guys. And what they'll do is they will go eat this and leave your other crops alone. So I will plant, one year I planted like a big section of this right in the middle of my garden, and every earwig in the entire city block was on this. And it handled it just fine. So I just cut them off and gave them to the chickens when they were really bad looking. And I just sowed some more. And this grew for the whole season and kept all of the earwigs extremely happy and out of the rest of my crops. So I really like this one because it's pretty, because we don't eat a ton of it. We do eat some of it. I'll put a little bit of it in things, but we do give it to the chickens, and it's a great trap crop. Celery. Last year was my first year doing celery, and I just wanted to show you guys which variety I had that worked for me in Michigan. It says this is a refined, reliable French celery. So it was actually really good in my Michigan climate. I did grow it in a partially shady spot. It got a little bit of morning sun, and after that it was shady. I thought that would help keep it in a cooler place because celery likes a little bit cooler, not past frost, but cooler. So I tried that, and I liked it, and it worked good. So I'm gonna try it again this year. Okay, sticking with the theme of cool season stuff, I will try almost any lettuce. I'm not super fussy what kinds of lettuce we have, but I did have a couple that I really liked. This one's called Little Gem. This is from Mary's Heirloom Seeds. And this one is called Tennis Ball. And they're just little baby heads of lettuce. And I think they're really neat because I can go harvest a whole head and just cut it up and make like a little individual salad, or I can cut it in half and make something pretty with it. I enjoy these little baby heads. And then I also do like red lettuces. So this is called Lola Rosa. There are some other Lolas where they're green. This one happens to be red. Super red romaine. The romaines do really, really good in Michigan here for me. And I actually grow these as cutting lettuce. So I grow them very, very intensely, and then I just trim them off the top and let them regrow their tops again. So those are a couple that I really, really like. Okay, let's move on to things that are a little bit more summer sign things, like beans. My very favorite bean to grow is this one. It is a purple pole bean called Blohildi. B-L-A, here you can read on the back. Maybe. It grows a nice tall vine, so I usually do like tripods or teepees or grow it up something. It's got nice skinny beans. They're really, really good to use for eating fresh or to pickle. My family really likes dilly beans, so they're good for that. And you get a good size harvest off of them at once for a pole bean, so I like those. And then for other pole beans, I like this Scarlet Runner bean. A lot of people use this decoratively. I've also used it as a dry bean, but it's a really, really pretty vine. It gets super long. Let's see how long it says this is going to get. This says the plant vine is 6 to 8 feet. I think I've had them get a little bit longer than that in a good sunny spot. And they're really thick and take over a little bit. They're really, really, really pretty. I like an out-of-control garden. If you like an out-of-control garden, Scarlet Runner bean is your friend. And then I also have this one, which I think this is considered a half runner, so it gets high but not as long as those ones. And it's called Good Mother Stalliard. And that's just a good all-around bean for like things like chili. So those ones are all my good runner beans. And then I have 2 bush beans that I grow. One is Dragon Tongue. And that's just because it looks cool. Tastes good, and we use it for the same kind of things, fresh eating and dill, fresh eating stuff. And then this one is a yellow bean, and I'm going to butcher this name, Bjordaroquencourt. I don't know. Just look at that. That's one. I also use other ones, Golden Wax, Gold Rush, things like that. But I like a good, this one's the one I've used the last 2 years. It's nice and skinny and thin. I really like it a lot. There's lots and lots of beans on these bushes. We use this and we make butter bean soup. So I like to get a big harvest all at once. So if you don't know, if you want a bush bean, you're going to get your beans kind of in a big group all together. Whereas if you do a pole bean, you can go out and pick handfuls. So if you want something to make like for a quick side for dinner, go out and grab some off the pole bean. But if I'm going to grow something that I want to preserve, I like to do bush beans because I can go out and I can harvest a whole ton of them at once make what I'm going to make with them, and then wait a little while and go. Usually I can get 2, sometimes 3 flushes off of this one here. Okay. In the squash family, I grow a hybrid called Slick Pick Squash from Haas Tools Seeds. This one has done really well for me. It's yellow. I've tried some green zucchinis that have gone, that they all do just fine. There's not one that I'm particularly attached to though. So I'll just try a couple different ones. But this Slick Pick does very, very well for me. It looks very nice. It's disease resistant. I really like it. It is a hybrid, so I cannot save seeds from it, but I'm okay with that in certain circumstances. And then the next one that I always grow is Tromboncino squash. Tromboncino squash is an heirloom. You can save the seeds from it. They say, let's see here, the fruits can grow up to 3 feet long. It doesn't say in here how long the vines can get. I'm telling you, the vines can get huge. If you watch any of my garden tour videos and there's that giant vine overtaking my chicken coop, that is the Tromboncino squash. And you can pick them when they're small and thin and use them as summer squash, or you can wait and let them get hard on the rind and use them as a winter squash. They don't store terribly long. The ends start to kind of crumble in on themselves. But the whole neck of the thing is good. You can just slice it up and it's good for anything that you would use a summer or a winter squash in. So I will grow those. And then I also grow this one last year, and I'm going to do it again this year. It's called the Center Cut Squash, and it is a hybrid. Let me see, from Row 7 Seed Company. Let me see here, 70 days to harvest, long vine over 10 feet. That is true. They are a hybrid between this Tromboncino squash and another one that I want to say is butternut squash, but I might be wrong. But another squash with better flavor. They're trying to make this Tromboncino, which is a good all-around basic squash, but it's got a very bland flavor to it. You can really add any kind of spice or seasoning you want to make this dish what you want, which a lot of people really like, and I do like when we're cooking things or when I'm like preserving it and freezing it, because I can make it into whatever dish I want. But if you want one that has more of its own flavor, the Center Cut squash was bred to have a better flavor. It's slightly smaller plant and slightly smaller fruit, but they're still humongous and make a ton of food. So I really like these. Again, this one you can't save seeds from, but I ordered some more from Row 7 Seed Company, just so I'd have them for this year because I liked them so much last year. I grow 2 pumpkins. Well, I grow a lot of pumpkins. I try to grow a lot of pumpkins. I always put out a sugar pie pumpkin because I want my pumpkins to be for edible purposes, not just to make jack-o'-lanterns. So I do this, and then I've turned these into purees and frozen the puree. And then I also have done this Long Island cheese pumpkin. I did this last year. It worked really good. It's the only pumpkin that grew at my parents' yard. I just threw a bunch of pumpkin seeds out there to see what would happen, and this guy made a pumpkin for me. So I'm going to grow these 2 for sure again this year. Plus I'm going to try a couple other ones. I'm really kind of in love with these ones. I don't know if you can kind of see. They've got the flat shape to them. They're like Cinderella wheels. They call them a Cinderella pumpkin sometimes. I don't know what it is. They come in pastel colors. There's a white one. There's a light green one. I have those seeds too. Something about them. I just like it. And sometimes I grow things just because I like them. As far as melon, this is my very favorite melon. And the seed is, you can tell, I've been using it. It's called a Minnesota midget melon. And these melons, this one is from Baker Creek Seeds, but they are, she's holding it in her hand. They're about like a softball size, maybe between a baseball and a softball size. And they grow on short little vines. The vines can get kind of long, but they're kind of a petite plant. So they might vine out maybe 3, maybe 4 feet from the center, but there's a bunch of different vines and you get a bunch of these guys on there. They're really cute. The only thing is these are very, very prone to get downy mildew. They're very, very prone to get damage. So once that happens, you're pretty much going to either lose that plant and have to yank it out, or if you leave it there to get whatever fruit you've got on here, it might infect your other things. So I would put it in a container, maybe. That's what I'm going to try this year. I'm going to put it in containers and see if it does better on its own, and I'm going to take it out of my main garden. I do grow a watermelon. The only one that I really like is Sugar Baby. And I actually don't have any seeds of that right now, so I have to order some. But that's the kind I use. Sugar Baby up in Michigan. And then I am married to this cucumber. Jess at Roots and Refuge had it on one of her seed videos, and I tried it, and it's the only one we order now. It's called Silver Slicer from Hudson Valley Seeds. And what I like about it is it's very, very straight and uniform cucumbers. They're very smooth. They're very, very mild, and they work well picked small as pickling cucumbers to make pickles, or they also work well as fresh eating, slicing. So my daughter will go out in the garden and yank one out and just eat it, want to run around the yard. So it works for everything, and it grows well here in my Michigan garden, which I am Michigan 6A, by the way. So, okay, peppers. I love to grow different varieties of peppers, not because my family eats tons and tons of peppers. And in fact, I probably grow way too many peppers for what my family actually eats, which is a no-no. Like, why grow things that you don't even need? But I give them away as gifts. I pickle them. I put them in the freezer. We'll see. They're just so pretty. So I do, whoa, did you see that? That was the cat playing with the tripod. I will grow bell peppers. Bell peppers are not my favorite one to grow, but I do have two that I really like. This lilac bell is really, really, really pretty. And then this King of the North grows good-sized bell peppers for me. Bell peppers are not always the easiest thing to grow because in Michigan, we're never guaranteed a certain amount of hot days or a good hot summer. You never know what you're going to get. Last year, great pepper year. Everything turned out beautifully. This year might not be that way. It might get a late start. We might get, cool nights. I don't really know. So I don't go all in on larger peppers like this that need a lot of heat to size up. But those are the two that I do like, and I will grow those. The sweet pepper that I do the most is a banana pepper. And I've done a couple of varieties of it. I'm not married to one particular kind. This is called the Lola banana pepper from Haas Tools. And this is what all of my family likes to eat. This is the one they do eat. So this is the one that the kids go out and snack in out of the garden. My nephews and nieces come over, they snack on this out of the garden. I pickle these and put them into rounds. I do everything with these. So these are my actual ones that if I had to plant one pepper, it would be the banana pepper. I did this one last year and I really liked it. It's called Pippin's Golden Honey Pepper. And they're very smaller peppers. The plant is really pretty and they're good like snack size things. So I liked these. These were good to put into like a jar and pickle whole. They were also really good to stick in lunch boxes, things like that, just quick snacks. So I liked those. And then the other one that I will never not grow again is the shishito pepper. This one I ordered from Nature and Nurture. I've got some more coming. Many companies have shishito peppers now. They are so prolific, so prolific. I had 3 plants last year and I had all the peppers that we could eat. And they're really, really easy to cook in a cast iron pan. You just bring them in, wash them, put a couple holes in them with a fork, oil them up and throw them in a pan, salt them. Giant side dish. Everybody loves them. I've made them with dipping sauces, but even without, my husband said it's the best pepper he's ever had. So we were always going to grow shishito peppers. And then, like I said, I grow a lot more. But there's not any varieties I'm particularly addicted to. I will be doing jalapeno peppers this year. I did nata penos last year, which is the jalapeno with the heat brought out of it. I will probably do those again, but I might take some actual hot ones. And I am going to make cowboy candy out of these. We tried it last year, and my husband loves it on anything. Sandwiches, spreads, chips, whatever it is. So I'm going to try and can up a bunch of that. So I'm going to need a lot of jalapenos. So I'm going to make regular jalapenos and nata penos because Ava likes to eat the nata penos out of the garden. And then I also like to do some kind of blocky pepper like this that I could stuff, not like a stuffed pepper like you think of a stuffed pepper, but with like cream cheese and things like that. This is a good stuffing pepper. And then I also always do some kind of hot pepper to do something with. So cayenne pepper to make my own cayenne flakes, or I will do Tabasco and make hot sauce. I will do a variety of different hot peppers just to experiment with those kind of things for heat. We don't eat a lot of that, but I do use it and like chili flakes and things like that. So I will do a couple hot peppers of any kind. Okay, tomato time. Now, this is my tomato basket. I have a problem. Now, I'm going to tell you, my problem is not from me. I blame Jess at Roots and Refuge. If you ever watched any of her videos, she's the person that kind of got me into gardening on YouTube, and she is obsessed with tomatoes. So she's introduced me to a lot of different kinds, and they sound really interesting, and then I click on something and I buy them, and now I have a lot. So I do cherry tomatoes. I do like a saladette kind of tomato, and then I do meaty paste tomatoes, and then big slicers. So I'll kind of show them to you kind of in that group. The first tomato that I ever grew was called a Super Sweet 100 Hybrid. This one is from Burpee. I got it from Johnny's Seeds. This is, I'm almost going to say, a bulletproof tomato. You can put this in the ground and you get giant plants full of red tomatoes. They're all small. My husband really likes this kind. It is a hybrid, but I don't save seeds out of cherry tomatoes, so to me it doesn't matter too much. I also tried this one last year called, Black Strawberry. Isn't that pretty? That's from Baker Creek. That's an heirloom. Those did really well for us last year, and they were really, really pretty. This place called Wild Boar Farms. Can you guys see the name of that? It is called Blue Boar Berries, and it's kind of got a little bit more of that purpley hint to it. Those do really well for me. I do a black cherry, which is also like a darker colored one. And then this one is Sun Gold, and Sun Golds are yellowy one. So we will do all of those for cherry tomatoes. And I'll usually grow a whole bunch of plants, and I'll usually keep maybe 2 or 3 of each kind and put them all in a row in the driveway. And then 2 small kind of salad sized ones that I do is another hybrid called the 4th of July hybrid. Again, this is one of the very first ones I ever got, and I started it and it did really well. They're a 4-ounce fruit, it says, and they harvest and they redden early. So these are ones that my husband likes in his lunchbox. So I get those ones. And then this one I tried last year for the first time, and I'm going to butcher that name. Agripoli d'Inverno tomato. It's called a winter grape tomato of Old Italy. Flavorful little aromas. These produce like crazy. They produced bigger than a cherry tomato, but like it's like a grape version. Really good for snacking size, or if you wanted to use some in a fresh pasta dish or something like that. Hi, you coming up? You can come up. So those are kind of like my salad sized ones. As far as sauces, I will grow a whole row of Jack Frost is rubbing his fur against the sides of the camera. For paste tomatoes, I'll grow a whole row because I like to not deal with all the water that's in a big slicer tomato. I will use big slicer tomatoes in my sauce, but I will try and do a bunch of these kind and then just add in some slicers that we haven't eaten off the vines. So I always do some version of San Marzano, and I always do a version of Romas. They just produce well. Because again, Michigan weather is so hit or miss. They're a smaller tomato, but they produce a lot, and I know that they're gonna ripen for me, and I'm gonna get a harvest off them. I do try larger ones. I do Amish paste and Alpaca. Both of those are ones that I've tried and do well. They're much larger, like an ox heart size, but sometimes if the weather doesn't cooperate, that might not work out well for me. So rather than chance it all and throw it all in on those bigger ones, I'm gonna stick with these and then try some other ones, and I'll have a combination. And then as far as slicers go, I'm a little out of control. I try and do a whole range of color. And that is because I like the way that they look, because I don't eat fresh slicing tomatoes. But my husband does, and he likes them. And these are ones that he said the flavor is really good. And they produced really well. They handled blight really well for me. I always do a purpley one. This one is called Cherokee Purple. This one's probably the most well known. There's also one. This one's called Paul Robeson. This one I think might have slightly superior flavor. But they're both very, very good. This Dr. Wychee's Yellow. and this orange jazz. Both perform really well and give me nice sized slicer tomatoes. And then these red ones, one is an Abe Lincoln. And then I've got another one, whoops, that I'm going to drop. It's in one of these packets called Mortgage Lifter. And those are just plain red, good sized chunky tomatoes. And then this is that Wild Boar Farms. That's a place that makes different kinds of tomatoes, crosses. This is called Pink Berkeley Tie-Dye. And that one does really well and makes them pretty large sized. And then I also have a striped German. And then I'm kind of making a mess here. They're all over the floor. This is one I tried last year that I really liked. Wood's Famous Brimmer. This one made really large sized tomatoes. The plant did really well. It was really healthy. And Brent said that they were really, really good to eat. So those ones are all going in my garden again this year. Okay, as far as flowers go, I love to grow flowers in my yard. I grow tons of them. I don't necessarily have to grow the same kind every year. I like it if I put a bunch of seeds into pots, see what shows up in the summertime, and kind of put them wherever they go and just be surprised myself at what kind of palette my yard has for the year. But I always, always, always grow zinnias. This one I grew last year. It's really, really pretty. It's called Pink Senorita. And then I really like this Queenie Lime Orange. They make a Queen Lime Red. There's a couple different kinds in that same series, but I love a zinnia. They are an annual, but I just cut the heads off when they dry throughout the year and throw them in a bucket. And I actually have a whole bucket of my own seeds where I can grow a big long hedge of them. That does not keep me from buying more every year. I have a problem. I always grow calendula. There is a bright red one here called Ball's Improved Orange or something like that that I grow, that I use for its oils. These are edible. This one is called Snow Princess. It's got that really pretty double ruffle. These grow very well. They're cold tolerant. They do fantastic in Michigan. You can run them over with the lawnmower and then they're going to come back. I cut the whole hedge of them out this year because they were overtaking an area, and before winter hit, they'd already sprouted brand new plants. They sow their own seed like crazy. They're fantastic. I love them. If you are in a warmer spot, they might take over an area because they throw their own seed so much. You might want to be careful where you plant them. And then I always grow snapdragons. This one's called Night and Day. My very favorite snapdragon that I don't have seeds for right now is called Orange Wonder from M.I. Gardner. It's fantastic. I'll try any snapdragon. I love them. And then a couple other ones that I try. I always grow a sunflower. I'm not particularly in love with any particular one over the other. These are two that I grew last year that I really liked. I love the colors of this one. It's called Evening Sun from M.I. Gardner. And I love how they're two-toned or three-toned even. So I really enjoyed the color variations and things like this. And then this one is called Sunspot Dwarf. And this one has got a full-sized head. Like the head's as big as my head. But the plants are only about maybe 3 feet high. And they're nice and sturdy. They're big, thick ones, so they stand up really good. This is a very interesting one. I'm going to grow this again somewhere in a better spot. I grew it in a bad spot last year. And then these are two that were just gorgeous last year. I grew them. I've grown asters before, but this is a new color called Salmon Janina. This was gorgeous. It was the prettiest, most pale pink color. It was just gorgeous. And then I did Cosmos, and I did this double Dutch rose. And I really liked how these looked with the double petals. It's the first time I've grown one that's ruffly like this. The others have all been single blooms. So those are two that I just really liked this year that I'm definitely going to grow again. So that is it. That concludes what I liked in 2022. Things that I'll definitely grow again. I hope it gave you some ideas, and we'll see how they turn out this year.